What is up? What is up, guys? Welcome back to another DePIN happy hour. My goodness, this is a much needed happy hour after today's events. The past week's events, honestly, have been pretty brutal. Portfolios being wrecked left and right. But yeah, how are we all doing, guys?
I'll tell you right now. Ready? Look, I'll tell you how I'm doing. Right here. Right here. It is
Doing better now, right?
doing much better now. Miss you guys. It's been a long time since I feel like we've all been in the room together. So, but doing all right, surviving. I mean, just like Will said, craziest liquidation event in the last 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Crypto rebounding, Trump playing ping pong with the markets. Just like we're just doing everything for shits and giggles at this point, no?
Yeah, I mean, Barron couldn't have missed his entry that much that he had to liquidate evidence again just to get him another entry point so that Eric could join in as well. I mean, come on, man. Like, there's going to be another one in another week where Melania needs to get in. So, tariff on, tariff off.
Tariff on, tariff off.
I heard that they've only accumulated $1 billion worth of market making and LP fees for Trump and all the things that they hold. Not bad, right?
Not bad.
That's crazy.
Just a couple mil.
Yeah, I'm still very curious as to who this person was who just timed their trade so perfectly. Like very interesting. Very interesting. The
Pretty impressive.
Longs.
Nancy Pelosi, is that you?
It's got to
Yeah,
be
right.
Barron.
She's like
Barron.
super
That's-
bullish on hyper liquid. She's
Or
like,
one
I
of-
love hyper liquid.
Or one of Barron's friends, either way, whatever. I mean,
It's
the fact
Martin Shkreli.
Martin
Martin
Shkreli.
Shkreli, the fact that he can send out a tweet about cooking oil and move markets by $400 billion is so crazy.
That is crazy.
It's so crazy.
It's a lot of
man.
power in one person's hands, honestly.
Yeah.
With great power comes great responsibility. Or please don't tank the markets. We love you.
Just share that info with me prior to announcing, please. Yep.
Yes.
Real.
No, same. But no, it's been obviously a wild ride. GM Net, there it is. I love that. XNet, what's going on, guys? Yeah, no, been a wild ride, but we do have two awesome guests on here. We have my buddy Shaolin, a really good friend of mine, and we also have Matthew from Warp Chain. So I would love to talk about Warp Chain, like what is that? What is Warp Chain, as well as obviously just go into all of that. So by all means, the mic is yours, guys. I would love for you to break it down and give us the deets.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm going to kick off with a bit of an intro. I'm Matt. I'm the CEO of Warp Chain. Been in the gaming industry for around about 20 years now, working at companies such as Rovio for Angry Birds, The King for Candy Crush, and Miniclip for 8 Ball Ball, and a bunch of other less famous shovelware type companies as well. And formed Warp Chain essentially because this kind of thing doesn't exist in Web3 currently. It's a games publisher, and decentralizing it, essentially providing a DeFi backbone to an $89 billion industry is something that we should be doing, because most of the Web3 games out there are dying or they're not good enough. And we came along with the express purpose of picking up the good ones, it's pennies on the dollar, and making sure that these things actually make the money they deserve, and then returning that revenue back to our holders, our node operators, through the magic power of DeFi. And I'll hand it to Cal. Take it away, man.
Yeah, no worries. I feel like I don't have 20 years of experience in gaming, but I'll take 3. So now I'm over here. I'm over here in partnerships at the Warp team, and what I really love is really just connecting people. Right, I have a great opportunity, and I know Will for a while, and I said, "Hey, Will, let's talk about DePINs, man. We're building something different over here at Warp Chain, where we have nodes." And it's something that we would love to like explore and have that conversation, because we need someone like yourself to help, and the whole team to kind of like one, put us to the grill, make sure that we know what we're talking about, but more importantly, how we talk about DePINs in relations to actual gaming itself. Because we were actually with the Moken team today, and even then, after having spent time with them doing our thing, they were just like, well, what is this for our audience? And it was like, huh, what? Do you guys have VC backing? Like, as that is the only form of like validation in this space for some reason. So no, otherwise, man, I'm just happy to be here. And look forward to talking more. But obviously, I'm very bullish on the team. I don't usually work with anyone that I don't have true passion for, and so for me, it's pretty easy. But again, love being here. Been in the DePIN space for a while, and so for me, we've chopped it up so many different times about like what's going on in this space, what's cooking, what's not, what to get into, and more importantly, make it simple, right? Keep it as simple as a 5-year-old, so that the normies in the space understand it, and more importantly,
the KISS method. The KISS method,
for sure.
No, I love that. No, I'm really happy you guys are here as well. And you mentioned Moken, so you guys have like a node sale happening on Helium Deploy right now, right? Like you guys are. So I guess how do those nodes work? Because like obviously in DePIN there's like there's so many different sectors in DePIN, so many different areas in DePIN. There's weather, there's telecom, there's energy even. I mean, there's just so much. So I guess if you want to break down how the nodes actually work, I would love to hear that personally.
Yeah, sure thing. So we actually have sort of online digital nodes, not sort of devices. And we have our network, which needs validating. So we want to decentralize the payments that we give out to essentially game studios, which are also node holders. So every game studio we publish is a node holder. Every guild that we partner with and put as part of our Capital Guilds program is a node holder. And there's 3,000 nodes in total. And essentially what they do is they have two revenue streams. And the first one is through token clouds. And the second one is if you're validating the network, there's two types of validation. One is we actually have a content service that can be accessed by games. Essentially, we can stream content. So that makes it easier on the server costs. A lot of games, as you know, very expensive to run. So we can use some of our network's power to asset streaming, which is really, really effective actually to get high quality games on lower end devices. And basically for that service, there will be a share of like 20% of the revenue of the entire network, which is cool because that means that if you're a game studio with one of these nodes, you get a kickback on your publishing deal. Since there's only 3,000 and we're actually sort of, intending to take billions in revenue, it's going to be very, very good kickback. That's why we can sign 50-50 publishing deals with these companies.
50-50, you said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 50-50 revenue.
It's really good.
It's pretty damn good for both of us, really, because we agree to scale them and we pay for all of the sort of the UA. And we also have our guild network, which helps us to push the games. There's I think it's 20 guilds in this network or so, and, reaching millions of players. So we have that side, and we also have the traditional Web2 side of putting adverts on Instagram in front of your girlfriend's face so that she'll download Candy Crush, that sort of stuff.
So have you guys TGE'd yet or no?
We're coming up to TGE on the 18th of November. So TGE is very soon.
Very soon. Yeah.
My birthday's the 21st, so that's like a birthday present. That's awesome.
Really?
Fantastic.
Let me ask you, you guys have made mention of these nodes. I mean, is that like an actual piece of hardware, or are these like software nodes that people can run on their computers?
Software. Yeah, software nodes. Yeah, so they're software nodes, and you can host them in any number of ways that people normally host them. We have some sort of preferred or like easy providers that we can push people to. And essentially, these nodes should be, up and running and validating in TGE.
What's the installation process look like for these nodes?
So it depends on your node provider, really. So there's, I think, Deep Network is our sort of one of our preferred providers, and essentially you sort of install their software.
They're sponsored the show, so they sponsor the show. So there you go.
Yeah, if you know how that works, then congratulations, Deep. So it's whatever the process is that everyone's familiar with for those guys.
There you go.
We're also, I think we're going to be potentially doing a device exchange, so there may actually be some devices from Deep with our nodes on them as well.
That's gangster. That's fire. So then that means you guys don't actually have any like hardware manufacturing costs. You guys are just getting this software running on people's existing hardware, and or if you need more supply, you could partner with someone like Deep to manage those workloads as well. So I
Yeah,
think even
exactly.
from a business perspective, that's quite good, keeping your costs low. I saw I was doing a little bit of homework, but I see that you guys are launched on AVAX. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we have our own AVAX L1. And the interesting thing is because we're not like Gala Games or Portal Coin or anything like that, we don't actually have games on our chain. And the interesting thing about that is it keeps us safe from game tokens, which are invariably at the moment bad. But what it does allow us to do is partner with other chains. So I think we're probably the only L1 on AVAX that has a partnership with not only Avalanche for publishing, but also Mutable. So we're a preferred publisher for Mutable, for Scale, and for Vara Chain, Vayner Chain, Beam, and yeah, it's pretty crazy to be like 6 chains worth of partnerships. Yeah, what that means is they will send us their games. So we're getting games sent to us by Scale and Immutable. We can review and publish. And these are often like, the cream of the crop, the things that they've given grants to, put all of their money into. And, they only need a little bit of help to get them where they need to go. Essentially, it's really good because we get to be first in line for the best games to publish.
Well, it doesn't take, well, a very large, complex anything to be very expensive on centralized cloud service providers. It's extraordinarily expensive per user for even the simplest application. It's kind of stunning, actually. And once
Yeah,
you
isn't
add
Azure like
gaming,
$8, right? Like
Yeah,
I forgot what the metric was. It's like
Oh, yeah.
$8 per gig, or is it $8 per hour or something?
I mean, it depends. Like I know AWS, for example, they throw out credits like candy. I mean, you just need to write to them, and they'll give you 100K's worth of credits. But if you don't optimize your server setup for even a most basic mobile, say mobile game with multiplayer in it, you could easily be running like server costs of 10, 20K a week. And that can be, yeah, the difference between you surviving and you not surviving is having an optimized solution on that. Yeah, it's
especially
always
for
good
like a
to.
pre-revenue project too, it makes it nearly
Exactly.
impossible to get up and running and get moving. You'll
Yeah, and a
bankrupt
lot of the
yourself
games.
prior to, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, man. I would just say a lot of the games are multiplayer because if you're going to do crypto, you want markets, you want trading, so you want people to trade with. And a lot of people haven't worked out that people will still sell each other stuff in single player games like Heyday or so, which had a marketplace and still made like $1 billion in its first couple of years.
I'm sorry if this is like a bit of a change up of a question, but what's your perspective on large publishers today? Like, I find that most of the games that people play are kind of the true and tried titles. Battlefield 6, Call
The
of
one that
Duty.
just came out. That's what you're calling out. The one that literally just came out.
Well, the
like 5 days
Battlefield
ago.
series, like
Are you
Battlefield
playing Battlefield
series.
6, by the way?
I am not playing Battlefield 6. I'm still, if I haven't played my Xbox in like well over 2.5, 3 weeks, which is like a long time for me to not play. And I would like to play Rivals. That's my main goal this weekend. I got you. But the reason I'm asking this is because one of the things I get a little, I don't want to say worried about, but I often think about how difficult it must be to carve out space for yourself as a publisher amidst all of these giants. And although we have incentive that's worthwhile to participants in the ecosystem, whether they be the studios, also being node validators and runners, as well as the individuals that have their existing hardware that can run those software nodes. How does being a publisher as a business, how do you survive when it comes to these massive other publishers? I'm thinking Riot Games, I'm thinking Epic, I'm thinking guys that just have this massive IP. Do you feel that this is a battle of IPs, or can you win off of implementation alone?
I mean, you can win off implementation alone. And basically, I'd point to the mobile market. I mean, if you look at the mobile market, like most of the top games that have staying power are original IPs. So Candy Crush was its own IP. Angry Birds was its own IP. More recently, you've got Clash of Clans and Brawl Stars. All of these games hit big, made billions. They don't have like the backing of, say, Marvel or any of those other things. They might do collabs from time to time, but even then, when you think you're really established, and King, for example, I remember there was one point we were turning off games that were making $250,000 a day. That wasn't King money, to quote Sebastian. And funny story, I remember when some BD sheepishly told Sebastian Knudsen, and he was the chief creative officer, "Oh, Candy Crush has peaked." He just turned around and said, "Well, unpeak it then," which is kind of cool. So you can have breakout hits even when there's huge incumbents. Like there was, for example, Royal Match. I think it's from a Turkish company that didn't exist on the scene. Candy Crush was there. You had like Gardenscapes being there, and that game came out of nowhere. And just by being a better game, got to supplant those other games. Because the thing is that I think there's 3.5 billion gamers in the world. A lot of them are mobile gamers, and I think 90% of Gen Z identify as gamers. And so, as long as you can get your foot in the door and you can make it past your first game, which a lot of Web3 game studios don't, then you have a chance. I mean, if you look at GTA 1, right, you could probably vibe code that in a few hours. It's top-down pixel art driving game where you squash all of those little Harry Rama guys, and it's essentially you need time to do it, and that's why we've set things up with the node style way of doing it as opposed to just throwing grants at people, because most of these companies are in their first studio, like as in hiring their first set of people and their first game at the same time. So to expect them to get success in one shot is almost impossible. So we're there for the long term, and we've done it before, right? So we've got multi-exit founders. We have one of the OG founders of King.com. So he scaled that company up to billions. And I think we've got people from EA, from Valve, from like all over the industry. We've got the guy who built Battle.net. Got a lot of good people in there. And we know that, you can actually scale a game from nothing as long as you have a decent difference between how much it costs to acquire a user in your game and how much money or revenue that user brings in over, let's say, 30 days. And us having our own L1 allows us to have things like game bonds. You can essentially stake your warp token to allow those games to kind of borrow against these pools. And that means that if we have statistical significance that you can actually scale this thing, we can scale way faster than a regular studio. I mean, there are hundreds of publishers out there you probably haven't heard of. Like, okay, you might have heard of the game Valheim, but how many people have heard of Coffee Stain that actually publish them? They're more they're like the Miramax of game publishers. Like Miramax tend to make films that feel like indies. Coffee Stain
Miramax.
makes games that feel like indie games as well. I'm just saying for the Jay and Silent Bob reference for those who indulge. But yeah,
I haven't thought about that movie in a
essentially
long
like that.
time. That's awesome. Sorry to cut you off, Matthew. I was about to say I haven't
Hey,
thought
no
about
worries.
that movie in forever.
Great
And
movie.
Valheim's awesome. I played Valheim. The game was sick.
Yeah, it's like that Coffee Stain is actually backed by the Embracer Group, formerly THQ Nordic. That's like a $4 billion market cap company. And when you're playing Valheim, you just see the story of like, oh, it's these 5 guys in Sweden or wherever that they made this game out of love. It's like, yeah, that's true, but people were still buying traffic for them, buying adverts for them.
Yeah.
So really, it's about finding the right product. And with the access to 6 chains and as many games as we review, then we have a really high chance of finding that one game that's going to hit its niche. And then as soon as we find that, we scale out. And the space is completely blue water at the moment. Everything else has been trashed, so it's pretty fun.
I'm curious. So how does you mentioned obviously you guys are an AVAX L1, but you mentioned the 6 chains, of course. How does that cross chain liquidity work? Like how does that cross chain interactions work? Even like where like if there's a player who's like, let's say they're on Arbitrum or let's say they're on like Solana or something, and they're like communicating or trying to trade with someone on Avalanche, like what's that like? What's that process like?
Well, so the best thing is they don't even need to. So the idea is that if they're spending money in that game on Solana, or if they're spending money on the game in Ronin, we are taking 50% of that money, and we're onboarding that to our own chain. So if you think about it, our own chain is basically a DeFi layer, the stopgap from the other games. So while we do have, we acquired a tech company called Nitrodome, we do have the tech to allow full interoperability between 23 chains. That's not necessary for us to actually make money. And as soon as we're making money, then obviously we can put that value back. And those players don't even need to know the other player exists. It's just like many of these kind of third-party publishers, they might have hundreds of games on their portfolio. People in one game may have never met people in the other game as founders. So what we do is we actually have a sort of a platform that unites this. It's we call it a player identity platform, and it's going live very soon. You're going to be able to come along and mint an SBT, connect up all your Steam accounts, Epic accounts, and all the rest, and actually give yourself like a gamer score, as in your gaming net worth. And then that's going to push you into partnering with one of our 19 guilds as communities that you can join. And essentially, then you get to see the whole of our ecosystem, and you'll have your inventory and all the rest of it, and you'll be able to trade on our marketplaces. We have an NFT DEX, we have launch pads, we have a lot of tech that we are going to release into it. But the majority of it is, does that game make money? Because if that game makes money, we make money. And therefore, the node operators and everyone on it makes money.
Yeah, I like making money. So that's great. The Quest, go for it.
I was going to ask, do you guys have a central place where a community can form? And if so, where can they find it?
So far, you can check out our Discord. We have a good community there, and node holders have their own channels. And yeah, once we have the platform live, we're essentially pushing people to, our partner communities as well. Because when you're building something and you want to build something at scale, like why not leverage the 40 million people in KGen or YGG to actually take care of gamers in their own region, as opposed to trying to be yet another competitor that's saying we're going to be the Steam of this or the big of that, and fucking failing because you don't meet people where they are. It's impossible to just bootstrap something out of nothing. So what we're doing is we're working with the communities that already exist, they're already established, to find them the right gamers that are valuable to them, grow their communities, and then by growing their communities, those communities playing our games, advertising our games, getting people into them, they grow their own bags. And this is where it gets exciting. We can have things like indexes of the tokens in games as well that people in these communities will have access to, and various other DeFi tools through our platform, which will essentially allow you to take bets on games, to get into the airdrops early, to essentially accrue value at a faster rate than anyone else there without the alpha.
Insider trading? No, I'm just kidding.
Insider trading.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
We're
keeping up the same theme. I like this. I like this a lot.
Oh,
it's all
man.
good.
Next thing you know, you hear about the Hyperliquid interoperability with Warp Chain, and you're like, yeah, it's great.
I mean, seriously, like this is kind of where we want to go, because there's RWAs, there's all sorts of things coming online, coming on chain. We want to create the idea that your time and not just your digital assets are worth something. So a player's time can be measured, can be quantified, and we have a very well-known price for that attention. And you can go to a company like AppLovin, and you can literally buy players for any region, and they will have a different price depending on whether that player is from anywhere that gets the airdrop from Monad and anywhere that doesn't get the Monad airdrop. So you can see there's a definite price difference there, and that's what we want to provide people with, their own value, so that when a game gets them, they can actually get money from the game, as opposed to having to go through all of these third-party processes. And the more they play the games, the more they spend in the games, the more valuable of a player they become to the eco. And for example, if a game doesn't work out on one eco, our interoperability does allow us to support that player moving into a different game. And that's part of it as well.
That's quite nice. I can imagine someone, I guess in the equivalence of like today's mainstream games, or at least the mainstream games that I remember, someone who maybe sunk a lot of time into Destiny 2, and then
Oh God.
like whatever it gets cleared out, and then now they're
I'll check my Steam right now. Actually, let me see how many hours I have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You probably have over 100. I'm willing to bet. I actually didn't play Destiny 2 like that.
460.
Jesus Christ, brother.
I played
And
the
that's
shit.
Will, do you own deodorant?
No, actually. That's the one thing I don't own. I own a lot of exotics in Destiny, but no deodorant, unfortunately.
I used to get down some Destiny. You said 460 what?
462 hours in Destiny. Destiny 2. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I played a lot of it, dude. I played a lot of it. Yeah. The multiplayer, I just got hooked in the multiplayer, really. Like, the multiplayer was my favorite part of the whole game.
All the raids, all that shit. Yeah.
Crucible, dude. Crucible was my jam. Ah, God, I missed that game so much.
I have World of Warcraft, man. I played way too much.
Oh, that's a time suck right there too. RuneScape too. I'm like,
yeah.
I can't touch MMOs anymore because it's just I don't have time for them. I love MMOs, but I literally just it's like you sit there, all right, chop down like 1,000 trees, and you're like, shit.
You don't even have kids yet. You don't have time. What's going on?
Exactly. The first one's on the way, dude. There's no way I'm gonna have time for that.
Congrats.
Thank you.
But yeah, like, I don't have time for those games anymore, man. I just about squeezed in some time to play some games that my daughter likes. And so, Animal Crossing and a little bit of Pokemon Go here and there while I walk around. And if I'm lucky, get to play some Dragon Quest 11, which is pretty good.
Nice.
But yeah,
I think that's our retirement. That's like the millennials' retirement is video games, right?
Yep.
Like when we're like all 65 and we're all done working, it's like we're all gonna be playing golf and playing video games.
Yeah.
If we can actually go outside, because millennials, we're not as healthy as the boomer generation that went out and worked and did all of that stuff and ate healthier food.
We'll be fine.
We're just gonna be like in our homes, plugged into a machine, playing games.
Got my blueberry beer. I'll be fine. It's healthy. It's got vitamins.
Just work out heavy. Go outside a few minutes a day, and hope. I mean, God willing, we'll make it to the other side.
The sun actually kind of hurts nowadays. I'm not gonna lie. When I walk out, I'm like, ooh. I'm like, oh shit.
Vampire effect.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask whether, because it seems like everyone's kind of on my crowd, my age generation here, but does anyone remember this game here? This is probably like a flash from the past, maybe.
Do you have that?
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is like when it came with the original Xbox, so it was the
dude.
Easy.
Oh my God.
How
much is that even worth now?
Yeah, nothing. $13.
No, it's gotta be worth so much, dude. It's like an antique.
No. It is an antique, but it's not like
trade it into GameStop for like 50 cents in credit.
GameStop just like go fuck yourself.
And then GameStop will sell it for $50.
Revolting, man. Like you go up there and you take in like, I think so, they still exist. I mean, you take like 5 consoles, 400 games, full VR headset, and they're like $10 of store credit, best I can do. And you're like, okay, bro, I'm gonna hand it in and get the latest Xbox game. That's exactly what people did. And the thing is that we're trying to, tell gamers that actually owning your own shit is in your best interest. And then they were like, well, Ubisoft said they wanted to do it, so it's definitely cancer. And it's like, okay, so Ubisoft did this, and now none of you like crypto? Yes. Okay, bro. Thanks.
I actually meant to ask you. I meant to ask you about that earlier. Is do you, when you guys go out and try to partner with these studios and present how all of this works? I'm sure there's some folks there doing their due diligence, asking questions, wanting to get under the hood. Do you meet individuals who have gripes about this being attached to crypto, or what are
not
those
so
conversations
much.
like? No, not so much.
It's actually the reverse. Like we meet mainly from the outside of the industry. People are looking how to get into it, because what with AI coming as well, like crypto is a great hedge against that, because when you have like games become as easy as, say, creating YouTube content, like this is what XAI is working on and others, you're going to get to the point where you have personalized experience. Everything's really fractured anyway. Just look at what Spotify and the rest did to music. I mean, musicians don't actually make like fuck all money these days because of how it's happened. But this is the interesting part. It's like if we bring gamers along and give them value, then people know in the industry that giving and being more generous to players actually makes more money. So if you look at how it started with arcade machines, that's one game, it's pay to play. And this is kind of weirdly a lot of the model that Web3 games decided to emulate. You have to buy something to get into the game. Now that's a great model if you've got, say, an arcade and you've got like a venue to go to and people go there. But when you could put the console in people's homes, you charge far less for it and you let them play for free. That must have seemed like the most idiotic idea ever. It's like, okay, so you're going to give them all the games for cheap on one machine. How the fuck are you going to make money with that? But actually, that's what birthed Nintendo into becoming major superpower and PlayStation with back in the day. And then when you go to sort of subscription models like World of Warcraft, that again changed everything. Like RuneScape, World of Warcraft, those kind of games where you can actually just pay when you want to. It's more generous than you have to buy a full game. But then again, it can make more money. And so you see that like Activision Blizzard came up at that point. And then you move to mobile, where essentially the game is completely free. You're not even charging people for the game. You're not even charging them a subscription. You're only relying on a certain percentage, usually under 3% of people paying for that game. And that was revolutionary in the amount of money came up. Look at Tencent, you look at NetEase, these big Chinese companies that are worth, God knows, more than EA, which is 55 billion that it recently sold for. And that was just by being more generous and giving away more. And now if you look to where we're going in Web3, the companies that will be the kingmakers of this space of actually giving players even more, not necessarily paying them exactly for their time, but instead of spending money on advertising, spending money directly to the players, those companies are going to be the next multi-billion-dollar companies. And that's what everyone in the industry sees, because if you are the right company to be riding that wave of innovation at the right time, you're likely to be a kingmaker in that space. And that's why literally everyone is looking for an entry. They won't say it out loud. If you go to Gamescom, you would be surprised how much of the executive talk in the Marriott Hotel and the rest is about how to be into Web3. Nearly every major exec has dabbled with it. I mean, you see OG Protocol launching from the guy who founded Zynga, which is there to sort of reward gamers in any kind of meme coin, creating game coins out of that. So the industry is coming, Sonium, the Sony chain, FIFA having its own blockchain, like everyone is getting into this space. And the problem is that all the VC money that jumped the gun for this space kind of wasted on people who A, never built games before, or B, didn't realize that it takes 20 years to build $1 billion franchise. You can't do it in one shot. So,
I wouldn't even limit it to just the games industry on its own. I mean, like even executive. I think that could be extended. Executives wanting to get invested into Web3, or at least seeing it as like this next natural step in their business. The founders over at 375, I feel like they have such a really interesting story because these guys were working at Linksys. Harry was the CEO. Rob was the CBO or whatever over at Linksys, and they wanted to start doing a Web3 router, like Web3 powered router or whatever, like very, very early renditions of what we saw with Helium and, I guess what eventually kind of came out of Dawn. But Nick, all of this to say that you're absolutely on point. People started seeing this as like, all right, this is going to be this next wave. We need to figure out how we can get our business to fit into this massive paradigm that is Web3, such that we can capitalize on it. Because if we do not, we will certainly get left behind. So, just you're explaining it in the category of gains, but I actually think that extends to pretty much any industry, because it just is the next natural step, the next evolution for most of these businesses right now.
Exactly. And this is the thing which makes it more interesting to me is when you have RWAs and you then have the tokenization of assets. Just imagine if you have something like insurance companies start tokenizing all the assets in your home so that if your house gets blown away in a tornado because Americans build your house out of sticks, having not read Little Red Riding Hood, you'll decide to build your house out of sticks for some fucking reason. But imagine that your stuff could be replaced directly one for one with things in storage, like therefore, getting rid of all of that insurance fraud. What that allows you to do is if you're tokenizing everything from lumber to chips to all of this kind of stuff, you're also tokenizing game assets. And then you can have a like for like parity where you can have a kid who plays Fortnite and sells something or trades it for a bike, and that bike can be delivered to them. Like, this is the economy we're going into. We're moving into the fact that we know that things online have a value and digital value. And we've shown that with, how Bitcoin has retained its strength as digital gold. And we're seeing like actual gold's getting really popular for some reason. It's like everyone's waiting for the apocalypse, and instead of buying toilet paper this time, they're buying gold.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. But as soon as you have that online component to it, then what that allows you to do is it allows you to exist in a much larger economy, and it allows you to come up in a way that hasn't been done. So you could, for example, exchange like your physical assets for digital assets, and vice versa. That's anything from concert tickets to FIFA tickets to your favorite game and following your team just by playing a game. That's kind of insane to me. And that's the next step. That's the next step where, we're not going to be walking around in Ready Player One, but what we will have access to is that someone will see, Starbucks coffee having the same value as a particular item in a game, and you being able to trade that over with a credit card and do these kind of things seamlessly and efficiently. And that's where it becomes the hedge against AI slop games, which will essentially be like dreams. You don't really want to tell your buddy, hey, do you want to walk around in my head for a bit? And that's what it's going to be like if everyone makes their own games.
Yeah.
I think people need shared experiences, right? And what better thing than having a shared experience like Fortnite, where you have all of these sort of like semi-digital experiences, whether it's concerts or whether it's just playing the game and getting concert tickets. I think that merging is going to become so much more familiar to people, and no matter your industry, you will have something that you can swap for a digital item.
No, it's really fascinating, and you brought up a really good point when it came to kind of unifying the economy in a sense. So I guess when it comes to like Warp Chain, like what I'm curious about is it just strictly a gaming chain, or can we look to it for other assets, other things, other use cases?
So currently, like as games publisher, and it's always better with a startup not to bite off more than you can chew. You can look
Yeah.
at it as a DeFi layer. So you can look at it as a DeFi layer for funding digital products. Now, what that doesn't it doesn't preclude us from moving into funding anything, essentially. And it's all community based. It's all essentially people can pull together, and you can stake your warp and get mindshare token, which will allow you to kind of vote on what statistically proven thing that we push. And of course, like we have constantly daily people bringing to us IP plays, transmedia plays, and rewards plays. So we are also looking into that actively. But I think the main thing is to establish ourselves in this multi-billion-dollar market, take a good chunk of that, and then expand out to K-pop demon hunters on Netflix. The idea of this essentially is to get IPs and games in front of everyone, right? Because if you look at how people download mobile games, it's by having a button to download that game on every device, like whatever app they're using.
No, I love, honestly, that's just amazing. And I'm really excited to check out Warp Chain more and more here. But Brad, I've noticed you've been awfully quiet. I would love to throw it to you, man. I would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I know you're a GA man, so
Sorry, I had to step away for a second. No, I mean it sounds like a very cool project. I have not had a chance to dig in too much on what they're doing. How is like what you guys are doing? Because I know Tashi is also kind of working in the gaming space too. Are you guys like familiar with their project?
I mean, not overly. To be honest, I've been heads down, basically meeting game studios. Anything from Spider Tanks all the way down to sort of DJing games like CZ Runs that we've actually got on our network. So not
That's
super
awesome.
familiar with a lot of the externals. But I would say about game publishers, most of the ones in the Web3 space that called themselves publishers had a conversation with us last year at some point, decided that was a great thing to call themselves. And I have a group of like publisher founders. I think we're like literally the only ones still calling ourselves a publisher. And at that point, apart from maybe YGG.
That's awesome.
Let's just say it's not something you get into if you haven't done it before. And I think this is essentially the learning that a lot of people are taking away from the space. You can't just have a successful NFT project and then fund a successful game out of the back of that. You need some help. And since we've done it all before, we are here to help people to make that transition. I mean, we're actually building a game for a Bitcoin ordinals community from scratch.
Ordinals are still a thing? What the fuck?
Well,
I didn't know those are still around.
Well, you see, that's why they want a game. So they actually even just want a web 2 game. So it's about like taking that sort of IP, taking that kind of thing, and then turning it into something else. Just like Luca with Pudgies, you know, it's a natural step that Pudgies have. Pudgy Party, made by actually one of the better studios out there, right? I mean, you don't generally get those kind of people working for hire. If you look at Claynosaurs have Gameloft working for them, which almost never works for hire. They basically build their own games. So, you know, these digital IP plays, they can be extremely valuable. I mean, the problem when you look at it is they actually execute. If you look at some of the bigger projects like Bored Apes Yacht Club, right? They decided to do other side, which is literally taking the hardest genre and trying to one-shot it, which is very difficult. And after all of those years, they produced like the monkey asshole game where you have to get a key out of a monkey's butt.
Dookie Dash.
Yeah, Dookie Dash. And then
wait, monkey asshole game? That's Dookie Dash?
Dookie Dash,
yeah. Dookie Dash, yeah, you're dashing down a monkey.
I'm just going to call it the monkey asshole dash now, monkey asshole game.
I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like you can laugh with your players, but never at your players. And I think that's part of the difficulty of making these games. It's like you had 500 million in treasury and you get a monkey asshole game out of it, and heavy metal, which was abysmal, and sold a bunch of land. If you look at all of the things that failed, like, you know, Sandbox and the rest, it's not because they kind of didn't know what games were. It's because they didn't build players first. They didn't get a huge excited community. They got a huge excited community of investors. And I mean, if you literally started making games for your shareholders, you'd make terrible games. I think that's the issue. We're making games for the wrong people. We should be making games for the people that exist, not the people we want to exist.
Matthew, I'm sorry that I have you just talking nonstop, my man. I got my man over here like a fire hydrant, bro. He's probably so thirsty.
Dive down the rabbit hole because we don't really get many gaming guests on the podcast. So I'm happy we have you here, Matthew. I'm really happy we have you here.
I do want to ask. You know, I overheard the comment that a Bitcoin ordinals community that you guys are building a game for them. Like, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, what do you mean by like that y'all are building the game as a game publisher? Do you have developer resources ready?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so we have team developers that we know have outsourced successful projects to in the past, and some of us have actually been outsourced managers before. And I myself have done Angry Birds. I was game design director for the Stockholm studio, which was Angry Birds 2, which made the majority of the money that got them sold to Sega for $1 billion. Imagine Sega still having $1 billion to buy a birds company. Pretty crazy, right? So yeah, we have.
Don't trash Sega, all right? I love them.
No, man. I was forced into the Sega camp when my parents bought me a Mega Drive, or in your case, you called it the Sega Genesis.
That's right.
Americans have that tougher name.
Very first console I ever had.
Yeah, same, bro. It was good times. Sonic 1, playing it until everything seemed like it was moving.
Dreamcast is the last console they made, right? I don't think they made anything.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, I had a Dreamcast.
My stepdad made Crazy Taxi for that, which was pretty dope.
Crazy Taxi was an awesome game, man.
Yeah, like him and I put it on DS when I was still a kid. I was doing the QA for that one. That was pretty weird.
I used to use like Disc Juggler. You could actually like burn games for Dreamcast, but that was freaking awesome.
It's all good.
Concept.
I mean, I think this is the interesting thing. Like, games tried to fight the idea of piracy and all the rest in the most horrible ways, with, you know, that digital online bullshit, and having CDs that, you know, had all of that anti-piracy shit that would take over your computer like a virus. But I think at the end of the day, if you actually empower people to be able to make money in your game and out of your game, you solve a lot of those problems. Because at the end of the day, most people, aside from cheating, we're trying to get a come up on selling accounts and things like that. The games industry has been fighting that for years.
Yeah.
And if you take the approach that you work with people and say, fuck it, let them sell their account. It's better than them selling your token down to zero. Let them grind for 100 hours and then sell it on the marketplace. Because you can buy accounts, but currently they have a fucking terrible value. Because most of the thing that's important to people is the journey, right? It's
Yeah.
it's that is what has meaning. And I still think that even if you tokenize all of your digital assets in single player games, it's still something you yourself would value. A bit like someone who collects baseball cards. I mean, I would still love to see all the achievements I have from my Xbox, my original Xbox before it red ringed on me. I'd love to see all of that kind of stuff. I'd love to see all of the games I played out of that library. And you know, it would be fantastic to actually use blockchain to stop killing games. And the people who are like in the stop killing games camp that want game studios to support games forever, they're the same people who think that blockchain's like made of Satan death. You know, it's like crazy, man. Just because there's a mouse poop on your wedding cake, your wife wants to throw the whole cake out? Come on.
We need to connect you with Tashi for sure. Like that's exactly what Tashi's
Amazing.
solving. Is
So-
that same problem?
That's a big deal over in Europe right now, right? Like, don't kill the game.
Yeah.
So they're
Stop
shutting
killing-
games
yeah.
down. It's got consumer rights. It's the whole thing right now.
Yeah, it's kind of
for or-
crazy though.
for
Can't force a
Oregon-
business to
sorry.
do something that they can't actually support, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but like, it is super expensive on traditional servers to keep games up and running, though. I mean, it's a pretty big cost. For like the Ordinals group, did you guys reach out to them, or are you guys having like inbound requests now? Is it mostly
Inbound, like it's
Oh, wow.
it's all inbound. We get so many game studios, and you know, we don't have VC backing. We're all sort of bootstrapped, self-funded. We have multi-exit founders and others, and we built this up from the ground. And all the time that we were talking to VCs were actually throwing games to us preferentially. You know, they didn't have any money to invest because, you know, they got their bags thoroughly wiped in 22. But everyone has been literally sending games to us. So we've got so much inbound. I think we've now got about 200, 300 leads. And we've got about 15 or 16 games in active talks and negotiations. Out of that, we've got like the 4 best have signed across all different chains. And having more games sent in all the time. So this is not necessarily the problem for us. Every time we go talking to anywhere, we were in Singapore for Token 2049, at least 3 or 4 games come up to us, and that's mainly a DeFi con. It's kind of interesting. Almost fighting them off with a stick. But I will tell you that, for example, one of our publishing guys, he was a senior vice president at Quali, he's a big Web2 publisher. He had 500 games a week across his desk as inbound. 500 games a week. Now, if we get to the scale where we can take even Web2 games and using our tech, we can turn them into Web3 games in about 6 hours, depending on the size of the database, we actually then can preserve the value from hundreds upon hundreds of games. And I think this is where it gets interesting. I think games are going to become more valuable in Web2 and Web3, sorry, when you actually get to the sequels. Like, imagine if you're on Battlefield 6 and you can use some of the OG stuff from Battlefield and the original and some of the skins and some of the things like that. That is where the real value of an entire ecosystem comes in. Like, you're playing, I don't know, the latest FIFA game, or you're playing the latest NFL or Madden or whatever, and you still have all of the shit that you used to have. And maybe that's not translated in 1-for-1, that you can use the same things that you've invested in back in the day, but it creates that value. I mean, if you look at even the games that cost $60, and you look at the first achievement on that, the bronze achievement, the like walk out of the first room you're in achievement, you see like only 60% of people bought, like they got that achievement. 60% of people bought a $60 game, and like only 60% of them get out of that first fucking room. That's crazy. People are literally, you know, getting these games, playing them for a little bit and being, no, this is not for me. I don't want to play the game of the year. I'm going to go back to my previous shit. So it's like the amount of wastage of that is nuts. And now we're entering a system where you don't have to do that. You will actually be sort of paid for your time in something, and you can find what you want to enjoy, and stay as long as you like.
Yeah, I mean, oh, go ahead, Brad.
I was gonna say, like, I always thought it'd be cool to have like skins and stuff as NFTs that you could like have an open marketplace to sell them or like trade them?
I mean,
think
yeah, like
games themselves should be NFTs. Like,
Mhm.
also that's a good idea. I mean, imagine if you had all of those old school games as NFTs and you could literally play them on a virtual console and then you could sell them when you were done with them. I mean, that with, you know, the right NFT standard that you'd have royalties would be a huge win for legacy publishers, like Nintendo, like Sega, who have all of those old games. Currently, what they tend to do is they bundle them in a sort of, you can buy 100 games for $3. Oh, know your worth, man. Like that's my childhood. You're selling for $3 there. Like it feels shitty. I don't want to buy like 100. I'd rather fucking pirate Sonic 1 than have Sonic 1 as part of a pack of every single Mega Drive or Genesis game ever. Because that just makes like little me feel really bad that all of my fucking pocket money that I spent is now worth $3 fucking
nothing.
dollars. That's
Sense.
it's brutal. And all of those teams putting in like millions of dollars worth of work to all of those games, and you have essentially about 20, 30, 40 million dollars worth of games, probably $1 billion in today's money, sold for $3. Bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
and I think this is the crazy part is if we get this right, I mean, you can see how much crappy pixel games can make in Web3. If we get this right, then the ability to onboard old games, old publishers, old achievements, all of these kind of things, it's going to be great. I mean, imagine hunting out your old save cards and finding your old games and Pokemon Stadium and shit, and they being able to tokenize that stuff and then interact with the most modern games. It's going
I
to be
think
wild.
I think it expands even further from there of like
Hmm.
like eventually becoming something as a reputation layer, you know? So like,
Exactly.
you know, you could start to use that as evidence that this person is a real individual because not because they happen to write on Twitter very frequently or they do this, you know, podcast show with us, but no, because you could look at their gamer score, you could look at their game library and also see that outside of this area that they might occupy professionally, no, they're also fucking absolute nerds, weaves, and just get really invested in certain games.
That's literally the platform we're releasing, right? So I'm literally going through and looking at all of the experience and the badges from with your Epic account or your Steam account and working out how to turn that into one gamer score, basically your gaming net worth.
Yep.
And that's going to be part of our platform. You mint an SBT, and then you're going to have that. And the more you game, that's going to be updated. And that gamer score is basically going to qualify you for things like game nights and guilds and all of that kind of shit. So if you're the guy who can beat Mike Tyson in Punch Out, maybe there's a competition and you're like, fuck, I knocked out Mike Tyson badge. And then, you know, you can qualify for this competition, maybe win some cash. I think this is kind of where we want to go on this is basically creating your cross game, cross platform gamer identity. There's something you can always build on and something that has a real value to other people. Like as soon as we know, you know, there's this guy with a gamer score of this has played this many hours in this kind of game, that's valuable data. You don't even know, it's not even personalized, right? It's just a gamer ID. It could be, you know, like Dick Slapper 99 or whatever he's called himself in COD with a star so he doesn't get like banned. And that guy could be worth like $25 to get into your new shooter because he absolutely loves it. Probably a guy kind of camps and drops claymores everywhere, you know.
And definitely teabags people after he kills them.
Always.
Oh man. Well, I mean, you know, one of the great things is like, you know, you guys are also expanding into the DePIN crowd, particularly on the supply side of things with, you know, getting more people to participate in the ecosystem. One of the things that I'll challenge you guys on right now is whether I know you guys are heads down building, which is a lovely thing. But I also want to open up this conversation to what's going on even in the world of DePIN. I mean, October has had a lot of ups and downs, but more ups and downs in my opinion.
Yep.
I mean, shout out to Mr. Nick Carpenito, who very eloquently gave a list of raises that we got. So curious to get you guys' thoughts on this for the whole group here. Hive Map are raising at 32 million, Grass another 10 million, 375 AI at 10 million, Inference.net 11.8 million. Again, 375 AI with a community round at 2 million amidst the worst liquidation event in history, if I might add. And then Daylight Energy today coming out a monster $75 million raise. Is DePIN dying?
Oh, it's dead. Yeah,
Like,
it's over.
I'm seeing
It's over.
this. I'm seeing this on the timeline. People are saying
No,
that
no,
DePIN's
it's-
dying, and for whatever
No,
reason,
no.
millions of dollars are going towards.
We're the
this
Bitcoin
ecosystem.
podcast now, Quiz. We're the Bitcoin happy hour.
Got it. Forget DePIN, go all in on Bitcoin. Will, I mean, you tell me, like, what does this raise eyebrows to you? What are some of
What
your
it really
thoughts?
shows me is that the overall market itself recognizes the value that is inherently within DePIN, even though there are other factors out there, like I guess overlaying factors where like you have the overall market tanking, and we are a part of said market to a degree. And so, of course, our tokens are going to have some correlation to overall market dynamics. But aside from that, there is a lot of interest still, a lot of intrigue in the industry, especially for really amazing projects like Hive Mapper as well as 375 AI, where I mean the TAM is just it's astronomical.
Mm-hmm. Brad, talk to me, man. What are you thinking?
What's that?
About these raises? What are you thinking about
Brad's
these
like,
raises?
what?
In DePIN, I think it's a great sign, man. The $75 million one today was big. Obviously, 375 AI, they're up to 10 million. They did 5 million recent. Guys, your token sales like oversubscribed. Freaking awesome, man. Love to see that. What do we have?
In the worst conditions ever.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, like the extreme fear in the markets, and you guys are overselling your coin list. And then let's see, we had Grass with 10 million.
Hive Mapper at
32 million.
That was Daylight with the 75 million, right?
It was Daylight with the 75 million.
That's right. I will say with Daylight, my only thing is where are they serving people? Because I tried to sign up for like through their app to like get quotes or whatever, and I never got any response back. So I'm just wondering what part of the country or world they're serving. I mean, they clearly are doing something right if they're raising 75 mil,
right.
But where?
I don't know. That's a good question because I spent like most of my career in solar, so I'm not sure of the specific details where they're building out solar, but nonetheless, 75 million. You've got Aether being added to the balance sheet of a NASDAQ traded company.
No way.
Yeah. So they actually added a DePIN project to their balance sheet. Not just a normal DApp, like an actual business with profits that's adding crypto assets to their balance sheet. Pretty nuts. And a DePIN project at that. So I think it's a good signal, man. Especially where market conditions are right now. I mean, I think that SEC ruling helps.
Yeah.
There's you saw kind of all the money flow in right after that ruling came down. So I think some people were on the sidelines kind of waiting. Granted, I'm sure a lot of these deals were working for a while. Like 375 AI, I think your guys closed in like July. And if
it's only now that we're coming out and
announcing it,
making the announcements or whatever. Yeah. Been pretty quiet about it.
Yeah, you held out on us, man.
Yeah, dude. He had to keep his mouth shut on here the whole time.
What's up with that?
That NDA is tight, right?
NDA is tight. Dude, I was gonna say, Shaolin, did you know about the SEC no action letter for DePIN?
This is why I refer back to you. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. So essentially, the SEC gave, I think it was a couple weeks ago, for
September 29th.
for 00. That's a project in DePIN. They had a token launch, and the SEC basically gave them a no action letter saying that DePIN tokens didn't constitute, like they didn't qualify as securities, which I thought was awesome.
It's a first of its kind no action letter that gives us this is directly from 00. That gives us confidence that 00 does not have to register as a class of equity securities, and that programmatic flows of 00 on the network are not securities transactions, which is quite nice. That one piece of that letter that I really liked: organizing disparate people to work together to build physical infrastructure is an interesting use for the technology. Markets, not financial regulators, should determine the success of such projects. That is a phenomenal.
Was that Hester? Was that Pierce, our girl?
No.
I can tell you right now.
Now we just need the markets to move back up to show us how they should regulate our projects because the
markets are like down with everything.
Yeah,
Fuck
it's
your
like,
project,
maybe we don't want that.
everything.
I don't know.
Throw it all away. Yeah.
Everyone was
I'm buying
looking to
gold.
start the bear market, right? Everyone was just looking for the trigger. They were like, "We've had 4 years. I'm sick of making all this money. Let's just send everything to zero." Okay,
Let's
there's a
throw it
tweet.
all
Send
away.
everything to zero. Just burn everything. I mean, it's like that self-destruct button when you're like, "Yeah, maybe that free martini at the event. I can have another 6 of those." Like, it's literally that. It's saying like, okay, what happens if I start selling fucking everything off the back of no reason?
What happens
But
when
you know,
you
money
start
is the
selling
best moat,
everything?
right? Money is the best mode. So all of these raises, and the fact that there's actually regulatory clarity on this is going to make this sector explode. Like it's with AI, with everything coming, like giving people the individual power to like map things as they drive around, to have their computer storing game assets, like for us or Aethea. We're partnered with them, by the way.
Nice.
To do all of this kind of stuff is incredible. And it's going to be a completely new era where just by existing, instead of everything costing you money, it's going to actually start turning the other way. Your existence and your value to society, just from being a regular person with a car or whatever, is actually going to be recognized to the point where it's almost like UBI, that universal benefit, but it's decentralized and it's market led. So if you having your stuff in storage is valuable to someone to know that information, and you want to decentralize that, that's going to be good for you. If it's valuable for you to drive your car around places that haven't been mapped, it's valuable for you. I think that's going to be really exciting.
Maybe we start advertising ourselves as UBI guys instead of DePIN.
Yeah, there you go. We are the UBI.
The UBI crew.
What excites me is all these raises are fun, but we've been waiting for a year or longer for several projects that are now going to TGE this quarter for that TGE to happen. And I'm really excited about 375A AI Conduit. I gotta say it just because William was giving me crap in the private chat over how much I really wanted to say it. Who else is going to TGE? Warp Chain going to TGE. We have Deep Network going to TGE. We have a lot of great DePIN projects with a lot of great founders that are coming up on their TGE. It's just time, right? All these new projects is going to be the next wave of the amazing entrepreneurial people actually taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to develop a great project, and really excited about that. So, and glad I'm here for the ride too. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a better time, and what's even cooler is a lot of this. It's still so early.
Suburban, look at this comment. Are any of you mining Bitcoin?
It is DePIN, right?
I feel like Suburban's like he's like, are any of you mining Bitcoin? There's this cool thing.
Back in my
day. What is Bitcoin sitting at today?
108, I think.
108.
I saw
gold just hit an all-time high again. I'm pretty sure. Gold just hit another all-time high. It's at 400 now on or at least the ETF is GLD. Fascinating stuff. But where is it? Bitcoin. Yeah, 108,991 on Robinhood.
But this is the fun part, right? Because this is where you can take that Rolex. Now it's more valuable in the gold than it is the actual brand.
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting seeing the flood, seeing like the flock to commodities with how like scared everyone's been. I mean, you have silver, palladium, gold, all that stuff just pumping, like ripping. Like obviously Bitcoin has had its heyday, but it's interesting to see how Bitcoin is performing against gold.
I often see this a lot as like people are scared. It seems like like, are losing confidence in their money or in like the government entities, or there's fear of like war. I mean, I said earlier at the beginning of the show that it was basically like ping pong. Trump is doing ping pong with this with the
greatest game of ping pong. My goodness, Quez. Yes. What a guy! What a guy, Quez. Yeah. Shaolin, my best friend on this panel. How's it going, Shaolin? The smartest guy. I walk in, I say, wow, Shaolin's the smartest guy here. Oh, my goodness.
But it just seems like, like in the midst of uncertainty, that's where people are flocking to. And it makes me wonder, is it a generational thing? Because like, perhaps some of the older generations are the one with most of the capital, and that's likely what might be inducing this price performance on gold. Like I know for sure, Peter Slift, whatever his last name is, he's probably living like Larry right
Yeah.
now. But all of this to say that even amidst all of this chaos, I still feel like there's no better safety net that you can put your capital into than Bitcoin. By the way, none of this is financial advice. And it shouldn't be construed as financial advice. But I will say, if I didn't have my capital in Bitcoin already, that's probably where I would look to look to stay safe.
And they
So
say that you get
interesting times
Bitcoin
we're in.
at the price you deserve. And I think this is the interesting thing is like when you see people flocking towards gold, and it's essentially because like the guy you trusted to save everything is now playing ping pong with your life insurance and your bags and your 401 and all of this. And I
Mhm.
think it's like, we kind of, a lot of people believe in the process, believe that we're going to go to somewhere better because you wouldn't hoard gold if you didn't think there was going to be an economy that would actually value that, right? I think it's a lot of people are just looking for something where, maybe the US is going to become more of a manufacturing base, maybe the dollar is going to be devalued because there's going to be a lot more factories, a lot more production, and a lot more exports. That's kind of the economic remodeling with tariffs and trying to be not a net importer, actually going back to the old days where, you could get like $4 for a £1 sterling. I think if that is where people see things going, that America is going to become a leading manufacturer, they naturally understand that the dollar is going to have to devalue against other world currencies. And then you're looking at things like the yen being a store of value. People go there because the economy does nothing in Japan, neither goes up nor down. And I think it's going to be really, people are looking to put their money somewhere while this process is happening. Because if America does build all these chip plants, if it does onshore all of this, you know, rare earths, I think in the longer time period, that's gonna be massively positive. But in this transitional period, it's definitely safer to keep your money in those good stores of value because no one knows what's happening to the dollar.
I mean, I certainly don't know what's happening to the dollar, but if I look over the last 40 years, I could, come with me and I'll paint a picture for you. So yeah, no, probably I don't know. And it's weird because like I feel sometimes like anti-American, when I talk about how I'm losing my faith in the United States dollar. But the simple fact is that somebody who came up in the 70s, 80s here in the US working 30 hours a week as a bartender, was able to support a family
Yeah.
in a condo in Miami, like with no hard skills, and like I look at myself and like I went to school, I got this degree, I did all of the things that they said that you needed in order to unlock the American dream, and like I'll be honest, I am living the dream because I'm healthy. My friends are healthy. Like I know how to count my blessings. But damn it, I want my money to do something
Yeah. I
for
want a
me.
condo in Miami. Come on, bro. Where's my
Shit,
condo in
man.
Miami? Come on.
That's what I'm talking about. For 30 hours a week, I'm like 70.
Be a
Come on.
waiter? Have a condo in Miami? Come on.
I mean,
Come
it's the
on.
same all over, right? So my parents in the UK, when they were basically 20, they bought their first apartment in London. Now, like that very same apartment would be like at least $1 million, at least. And they bought that basically on a clerk and a secretary's wage, like working the kind of jobs that are entry level, right? Two people on entry level job affording property. And you got to look at it, whether it's just that land has become so much more valuable or whether it's everything else has become so much more expensive. And there is a bit of that, right? That like we pay for services and subscriptions and shit like that to bleed us dry. Like they bleed us all the way down to the edge. Banking has got more efficient taking money off you. There's no like interest rates in your savings anymore. And I think this is where DePIN comes in. It's all of this lost value has been captured by corporations is now being returned to people, right? And I think this is the great leveler that we're missing. Like we're missing that kind of like your data should be valuable that you've been given away for free on Facebook for years. Like your ability to have power in your home should be valuable for the power you don't use. Like your computing like setup should be valuable for other people to use. Like, and that actually makes things more efficient. If you're going on about like environmentalism or any of that kind of stuff, like utilizing everyone's like resources on an individual personal level is going to be so much better for everything. And I think, you know,
Yeah.
this is what we've been missing. We've been missing a come up, right? Our data's been given away for free. Like we're subscribed up to like Netflix and all this shit, and they still push adverts to us. I mean,
Yeah.
we are like just customers for everything. Like everything is extracting money out of us.
All the time.
And time
Yeah.
and money, man.
Exactly.
I'm big anti on George. All my homies hate George Soros because this motherfucker talking about you will own nothing and be happy. You know, that guy could suck my nuts, man.
I mean, that bro
Fuck that
owns too
guy.
much shit, man. Like he owns plenty of stuff. He seems unhappy with other
Yeah.
people owning it.
So that's why I really deeply align with, like, you know, what we're talking about with DePIN. That's why we're, you know, I think all the guys here have been a real massive proponents of DePIN for larger reasons than just passive income, but like the idea that you can own a piece of a network that provides a service that people depend on and therefore also get paid out for it, for like contributing to that network, I think is a very important thing. I think we're finally shifting back towards owning something.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a little bit, it's something. So yeah, shout out to Suburban. DePIN is amazing. Pay your neighbor for energy, or, you know, fill in the blank for etc. Instead of a large company, and then at the end the consumer gets a better deal. 100% agreed. This is the way.
It's a better
So
economy,
DePIN,
man. A better economy.
it is a better economy. Goes back to the days, man. Back to when it was like between you
Mom
and
and
me.
pa, you know.
Kind of doing that
Mom and
thing.
pa
It's like,
shop.
Yeah.
it's like being digitally off the grid. So it's like
Fact.
literally you own your own shit. You can be independent. You are not like reliant on the bank to just decide whether you get your money or not. Like we will be able to be owning more and be more independent, like, and be more self-sufficient. I think this is what excites me about this whole. It's like the ability to, you know, be self-sufficient. You have a farm, you have like, I don't know, a little bit of wind generation or solar. You own your own water, hopefully, because I don't know why Americans hate the idea that you collect water on your own fucking land. That's insane to me.
The fact that they hate that is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
You can literally get jail time for collecting rainwater. It's the most insane thing in the
I mean,
world.
It's
you
just
can
some
get jailed in
stupid
America
Karen.
for cutting someone's grass. Like you literally,
Yeah.
like someone will call the police on you for mowing an old lady's lawn. Like that's insanity. And I think, look, if you start relying on your neighbors and you start getting that sense of community and that digital community, and then you are part of a support network. It's always amazing when you turn up in a new city and there's someone who is into crypto. And it's like, you know, when I turned up in Singapore and I met Xiao in person for the first time, it was like, you know, everywhere you go now in the world, you have people who believe in the same stuff, who speak the same language, who believe in this kind of self-sovereignty, independence kind of kit, and then taking care of your families, you know, and giving them something that they can hold on to. Like, what are you going to do? Like, hand on your Netflix subscription? Fuck that shit. You want to be handing
Yeah.
on like the value that you're accruing. And, you know, this is why RWAs combined with DePIN and this new economy is going to, I think, yeah, change everything.
I'll say this too. I know we're gonna wrap pretty soon here, but I'll add that I think the whole idea of a community, especially in Web3, has really succeeded in part to the fact that there's this like emptiness, there's this void like left where people had communities 50 years ago, 40 years ago with their local neighborhoods, and like you had like you had a sense of community at your churches and everything, but like the new generation just lacks that, and so they crave it, and so they found it on Web3. They found it through NFTs, through crypto, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Honestly, I think that's just one of the reasons it succeeded so much.
They just crave alpha for airdrops. Let's be honest here.
That too.
That's a proxy.
That's right.
That's a side effect. That's a side effect, Brian.
Oh yeah.
It's about coordination, man. Like that's why this technology is so awesome. It's enabling coordination amongst people with shared values, with shared goals, shared outcomes, and I don't think there's a better place to be building right now. And the fact that it's also you know, et al. Crypto, the fact that it's so like ill to most people, to me feels like it's why it's it has the greatest outsized opportunity for you building in it, whether that's as a professional working for a particular company, whether that's you as a DePIN deployer, whether that's you as a content creator talking about this stuff. I mean, the opportunities are quite bountiful here.
I agree.
So.
I agree. I know we're at the top of the hour here, guys. So I just want to first off say it's been an awesome conversation. Really, really have enjoyed it. I'm going to go around the room here for some final takes, final things to say. Of course, Matthew and Shaolin, I just want to give you guys an extra thank you for being here. Of course, I'll let you guys, shout out Warp Chain and everything, and let the listeners know where to find you guys, where to find Warp Chain, of course. I'll just throw it to you guys right now, actually, and then we'll go to Quez and then Brian, then myself to close it out. So, Matt or Shaolin, you guys, one of you guys can go ahead and start.
I think I'm going to start off with, before, the sort of obligatory shill of Warp Chain. What I'm going to say is, like, if the governments of multiple countries are fighting something as hard as they fought blockchain hasn't died, then we're doing something right. Like, if every single organization that is like funded through mysterious sources is against you, and this is empowering. If you see people in developing nations rushing to this shit, that it's a come up. But that's why crypto is the future, DePIN is the future, and we believe Warp Chain is definitely the future of gaming. Decentralized finance should be available to all, and owning your own stuff in games and creating value out of that is definitely something that we strongly believe in. And that's why we've managed to assemble 300 years of experience across Web 2 and Web 3 gaming. You can check us out on Warp Chain on X, and you join the Discord. warpgaming.io is our website. And of course, Helium Deploy is selling our nodes. I'll hand it over to Shao. He's way better at the business stuff than me. I'm just here for the cypherpunk, like realism and digital sovereignty.
It's all decentralized.
Exactly, man.
So thanks, Matt. What's funny is that usually I don't talk as much as I even do, only because Matt can literally talk about anything for hours. No, but I obviously appreciate being here. What for me, what I really value is always what the ethos stands for, right? What I love about every one of you guys is that you guys actually give a shit, right? You guys care about what we're doing, what the ethos is, the DePIN, the RWAs. It's all really a lot of fun for us over at Warp Chain. Really, it's giving back to the players, right? So Warp actually stands for we are real players. And the value of that is because we want to actually give back to the ecosystem, whether it's through the nodes, through the games, through our community. We are doing things very different. I'm just going to hit it on a different level for a second. I've been in Web3 gaming for over 2.5 years, almost 3 years now with Warp. And what really helps me better understand this is doing things that we have passion for, right? And the reason why I reached out to Will is because, we talked about gaming from the get-go. We talked about DePIN. This is how we actually got to know each other. But the real value also is like understanding how we can return this multi-billion-dollar industry back to the actual gamers themselves, whether that's, joking cliche through interoperability, or more importantly, through the value chain of giving you the ability to own the nodes that we have through Helium Deploy, through our website, to give you value back in terms of actually like, what DePIN stands for, right? Helping us validate our nodes. This is really something that I believe in, and I want people to ask the questions and feel out what we're doing, only because, when's the last time gaming paid you, right? Outside of being esports, outside of these things, and you can actually do all this with something as simple as a DePIN node. So, 100% glad to be here. You guys are definitely legends. Love hearing about all these things. We talk about raises and all this fun stuff. I actually, one of my focuses is actually bridging the East and the West. And if you see where the Chinese, Southeast Asia, they're putting all their money in, it's in RWAs and DePINs outside of Aster, to be 100% honest. I throw that in just for laughs.
I thought everyone was throwing their money at Chinese BD girls. I mean, I thought that was like the latest wave.
Yeah, I don't know if you're paying attention, but the craziest part is now all the American crypto and AI companies are now using AI. I'm sorry, using Asian BD girls as a thing. I literally saw
Asian BD girls, like business development girls.
Yes.
That's
And
right.
so, like,
Yeah.
literally
Is
saw
that the
50
secret
views?
sauce?
57 million views for one girl that was like, "I've just turned 18 years old. I'm in BD. I'm working for an AI company. Look what I'm doing." I'm like, 57 million views. Like, this is the new meme, 100%.
Insane.
Quez is taking notes right now for 375 AI. He's like,
No,
He's hiring the new
No,
intern right now.
I got some thoughts about that I don't know if I want to share right now, but like I know what he's talking about, and he's absolutely on point. It's kind of fucking trippy, quite frankly. But
But
yeah,
to the
no.
point, right? We're now combining two different sides of the world because they truly understand the opportunity to come up, and I think you're seeing that in Korea. Up, if you can get, your token on Upbit, all of a sudden you see a 300x, right? So the world is our oyster in the sense that we're obviously still early. So no, for me, I'm loving it because now I can actually do my two favorite loves, which is right with Warp is putting DePINs and nodes and gaming together. So happy to be here and pleasure sharing with all of you guys, all the vibes, all the tech talk. But more importantly, what I laughed about is like, given that this is the DePIN happy hour, besides the beers, because man, you guys killed it. I was like, why am I drinking tea? I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing
German
this 100%
Pilsner, sir.
wrong.
You can't drink all day if you don't start in the
That's right,
morning,
for
man.
That's
sure.
the Florida way right there, Quez.
Is that
Amen.
like I think in
That's
general,
right,
I
that's
loved
right.
how you guys vibed with the gaming part of it, and you guys went through your own like nostalgia because that's what gaming is for us, right? It's just the ability to just enjoy our lives, make some money while we're at it, and then more importantly, just have a great time. Because I was like, Will, like this was on the private chat. I was like, I think there's maybe 3 DePIN questions, and then it was just all gaming, man.
Yeah.
But I think that's important, right? We understand the value of the things that we are passionate about, so definitely here for it.
I mean, I have over 400 hours of time in Destiny too, so I'm shocked that you're shocked that I wouldn't just be gung ho on the gaming side of things. But Brian, I'm gonna throw it to you, and then we'll go to Quez, and then I'll close this out.
My final take is I think society's been really good at tearing apart infrastructure, specifically in developing nations right now. They're really good about, somebody comes in, they invest $1 billion building up this infrastructure, then they tear it apart and scrap pieces of it part by part to make a living and survive. DePIN is going to flip that narrative on its head. We're going to give them a way to build their own infrastructure, take infrastructure that's built and actually profit and survive off of it. And while we're still kind of in our infancy, participation now will yield to really big results down the road. So I just encourage you, if you're out here listening and you're not deploying yet, go buy a DIN NFT from Deep Network. Go get into Warp Chain, get into Conduit Network, get into 375 AI. Even just download their app and just start rolling on it. This is all. Go buy Helium Hotspot. All this stuff is gonna yield really good results, and it doesn't take a lot to get a decent amount of income coming in, where it'll potentially change your life and at least change your position financially. So enjoy DePIN. It's a lot of fun, and go join a community, and they'll all support you along your journey.
Amen. Quez.
I think I feel like this is the same closing take I have pretty much every time we do
That's
this
fine.
show, which is
So I love you.
there's an unsubstantiated amount of opportunity that is here in DePIN. And the fact that it could spread across so many different verticals, gaming, energy, data, broadband, like list quite frankly goes on. It's a matter of finding something that you resonate with, a mission that you resonate with, a team that you resonate with, and saying, perhaps I will put some of my spare resources into this. And your spare resources don't always have to be capital. I can tell you, as someone who manages a community, folks who come in and just ask questions about how this shit works, I love people like that. They don't have to put a single cent into anything that we're doing. I'm not even asking you for your money, right? But if you're willing to let me talk to you about the vision and why this is important, and perhaps why it would be very beneficial to you to become a deeper participant, that's something worth leaning into. This art of being curious is dying a little bit. Maybe that's just me becoming an old man. Folks aren't asking as much questions as I feel like I used to when I was younger. But man, like, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive where we are building infrastructure that supports the things that we care about and depend on. And will there ever be another opportunity for you to have ownership in those things and an ability to enable yourself to be sovereign on your own? I think these are things that are very important to think about. Sometimes hard if you're young and don't really picture yourself as getting old. I'm in that phase where, you know, I'm thinking about this next generation. I'm thinking about my kids. I don't even have kids, and I'm thinking about kids, you know.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
Soon, bro. Soon. But, you know, this is the time. This is a great time to be around. So, you know, even if you're listening to the show, I feel that's already a great step in the right direction. So,
Yeah.
big shout out to our guest today from Warp Chain. Definitely check them out. I want to kick it a little bit over to Will, because I know that he's going to talk about one of my favorite projects for sure, Deep Network. Can you tell me a little something, Will?
Yeah, so before closing us out here, I do want to shout out the sponsors of the show, bringing them up right now. Deep Network, that's 3 E's, guys. It's 3 E's, Deep Network. Right here, you can buy their NFTs. Their NFTs are on sale right now. Essentially, these DIN NFTs, they act as your node license, but they also act as your placeholder in line to get a hardware device. So essentially, with Deep Network, there's a bunch of hardware devices. They offer a bunch of compute resources, and as hardware operators, we all get rewarded for that. But in order to get one of those with this next phase of Deep, you need to have one of these NFTs. So you purchase one of these, you get in line to purchase a hardware device, but it also acts as your node license. So definitely check them out. We truly support Deep for supporting us. We love the team. We love Nate and the team over there. Nate's probably hunting right now, honestly. Good for him, dude. That guy's crazy. I love Nate. Love you, Nate. Freaking awesome. But yeah, seriously, check out the DIN NFT sales. Check out Deep Network. We really truly appreciate those guys. But yeah, Quez, do you have something else to add?
Yeah, just one little piece of alpha that most people probably didn't see. The Deep Network they just recently expanded their engineering team specifically with the intent of managing workloads for inbound client. Now I don't want to say clients, but I guess customers, whatever, that'll be using the Deep Network nodes. And you guys know what this means, as a DePIN network is providing more of their service. That is a positive outcome for the entirety of the people who provide that
Value
service. Value accrual back to those who are providing the service that the network offers. So if their engineering team is expanding, that probably means they need more help in managing those resources. So I always look at that as quiet signals that maybe go hidden. But that's what you're listening to us for, right? So that you can get all those signals, so you know what's happening.
Yeah.
So you can play your cards effectively. Shout out to the folks over at Deep Network, man.
Bless up, man. Bless up. No, Quez, honestly, you're stealing my job here. I absolutely love it. But no, I just want to shout out Deep Network. Really appreciate you guys. Warp Chain. Definitely check out Warp Chain. Definitely check out 375 AI. Definitely check out DePIN if you are not already doing so. Everyone, we truly appreciate you tuning in. Gang, that does it for another DePIN Happy Hour. Check us out again next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're here live on Twitter and Brad's YouTube channel, which Brad had to drop out earlier, but don't worry about that. Brad's a busy man. But yeah,
still love him.
Catch us all again next week, Thursday, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your